schedule to join us today. This is Julie Stewart with the Milner Group. I am the Annuity Director and Product Specialist, and we're really excited to launch Annuity Rate Watch. We are giving this blanket access to our advisors, and it is the #1 competitive tool in the industry. So today we are joined by Andy Wiegand, and he's one of the founders of Annuity Rate Watch, and he's going to walk us through how to successfully and easily use this tool. As always, the Milner Group is here to assist with product selection and case design. Certainly reach out after this if you have any calls or any questions or quotes that you'd like. Our number is 800-926-9206. The demo should last about 25 minutes, and then Andy's going to open it up for Q&A. So without further ado, Andy, go right ahead.
Thank you, Julie. Just a heads up, I do have Bill DiPilato. He is also in this demo with us today. He just began working here, so he's also going to get the work through with everyone else. So he'll get to see all the inputs and see how everything works. So this is twofold. So everybody, I just want to let you know, you should be currently viewing the featured product page. Our whole system has all the products that the Milner Group is offering, and currently what you should be seeing is the settings that Julie has created. And do you see those now, Julie?
Yes, I do.
Okay, just making sure. So these are the products that Julie has spotlighted for you guys under this featured products moniker, and so these are the products that you know, are out in the forefront. So this is what this featured product page is. Probably the primary operations that you'd be using is to find products that specifically fit your client's needs. Our whole system is completely loaded with all the product information as taken from the disclosures, specimen contracts, and brochures directly from the carriers. Also, the whole system is loaded with everything that's state-specific. So if there's a state-specific issue age, minimum premiums, maximum premiums, the system will actually feed back that information to you. So for instance, I've gone over to the MIGA grid. So these are the multi-year guarantee annuities. We have all of the listings of the Milner Group all on this page. As we scroll down, it's in descending surrender charge order. We show you the product information when you click on the carrier name. So I'm on the Sentinel product right now. I open up the product information. We see the pop-out. It has all the information as taken from those disclosures, brochures, and specimen contracts. And if we click through, we can see the past rates. This will be upcoming rates as well, if there's a rate change to be had. And we can click through and see different provisions. You can see withdrawals. So these are all the state-specific withdrawals. So if you need to see within your state what's the specific state surrender charge schedules, this is where all that information is. And so, you know, this Sentinel product is unique in that it has many different variations and withdrawals by age, which is a rarity. And we have state-specific information. Commissions, always a heads up. Our commissions are street level, and they're located on the furthest right-hand column. If there's a prompt to see notes, always click that. That's also where your state-specific commission schedules would be located. You know, for instance, we have this Florida product. In other companies where Florida is bundled into the general product, sometimes there is a variation for the Florida state-specific commission. So always click on the see notes to get the pop-up to appear. All these columns are also sortable at the top. So anything with an arrow can be sorted up and down. And I'm going to use a simple filter. Just as an example, we're looking in Colorado. I'm going to put in 250. We're going to leave the company blank, but if we knew exactly what carrier we wanted to see product for, we could use the company dropdown. We're going to go with A, just to make sure we narrow down the field a little bit and show you guys exactly how it works. In this situation, we can bring back 5-year only MIGAs. So we will only see 5-year rate guarantee products. And we lost some of the color, but what we see now are only 5-year products. We also see some upcoming rate changes, up and down. One that's not going to be changed at all. We see all the different issue ages here.
And Andy, it looks like these are in order of highest rate.
Correct.
Is that true?
Yep, our default sort is always for highest rate within the given surrender charge period. So when we were on the first grid, when I was just on the MIGA product grid, it'd be descending here by highest rate underneath the 10-year period. So it always goes that way. And we can turn these into PDFs that are printable. So after you've narrowed down your sort order, you can get a nice printable PDF. Further and more heads up is we have multiple views. So this is our standard MIGA grid. Now we have the top MIGA grid. We can just fit more information here. So it all depends on how you guys like to receive your information, how you best absorb it. The next one might be a little bit intense. There might be a little bit too much information for some people, but if you're in a situation where you've narrowed the search down to maybe 4 products, and perhaps this Sentinel product isn't appearing with these multiple surrender charge schedules, this is a very unique product in that it does that. More standard products are something like this or here, like this Guggenheim product. You'll fit more on one page. But what we do here is we're giving you some of those provisions, some of those withdrawal information things right here. So we're giving it right on the grid, so you see it more up front. You don't have to rely on clicking on the product name, which might be useful if you're printing this out to explain something to someone. We also have New York MIGA grids. So all this is we do the filter for you for New York, so that will automatically appear. And then further, what I call the simple search here, so these are like the primary search fields, we would then have what we call the advanced search. And that's located underneath this divider bar. And as a heads up, when we go over to fixed, we have the same drop downs here, our standard fixed product grid on down to the fixed search, where we're on the search page here. So what this page is, this is a much more flexible search. This is if you need to hit the nail on the head with something. You know specifically what you need. So as opposed to if we were on the grids previously, we're kind of just shopping through. We're going through the aisles and seeing everything Milner Group has to offer. Here is where I know exactly what I need for this client. I know I need specific waivers available. And I might also be able to say, I want everything up to 5-year MIGAs. And the flexibility we provide here is that we can have these statements here like the search surrender charges, at least or exactly or less than. So we want less than 5 years. So this will actually query 5 years and less. And we can put in the person's age here, do Colorado. And what that's going to do is it'll actually bring everything in the surrenders, including the 5 years and below. So it's more of a narrowed search. You can also do the control key and search specific carriers, but generally I think we're going to want to be searching everything. We have a big product, carrier list here. Rates guaranteed. We can put that in, but that would kind of nullify some of this information here. And we can look for specific waivers that we want to have available. If that was something you wanted to do, you can look for things with different, bonus situations. This is just, I know precisely what I need. I want a bonus product. I don't want a bonus product. This is where you can do it. And you have all the options here of which grids you'd like to pull back. So I'm going to pull the top rates back. And this is the much more narrowed field. And you see we have everything on the 5 years on down. And then we see that we have these this featured and also a hot listed product that Julie's probably selected and wants you to take a specific peek at, poking out to you with the highlight and the fireball. So that's an example of all the MIGA grids. There's also the side-by-side. So we do have the row format. This is a column format. I do suggest that you only take a handful of products now so they fit in the PDF. If you try to put 10 on here, you're not going to be able to see them all. So I definitely recommend you only pick maybe 4 to 5 here. And what we do is we do a column format where everything head-to-head. And this all depends on what works for you as a user. I have some clients who absolutely are in love with this column format. I have others who don't touch it and they like, perhaps that detail page. It's all about how do you like to absorb the information, what situations are you in, and how much information do you need to see at any given moment. So this can all be turned into a PDF, and you can also use the simple search filter up here. That will narrow down the drop-down here as you use these settings. And so I'll just go quickly through the fixed grid. Fixed grid is very similar to the MIGA grid. However, we're going to show you the current yield to surrender based on the current issue rate, and we'll show you the guaranteed yield to surrender, which is based on the minimum. So if it resets down to the minimum, this is the range you'd be in. And the reason why this is on a range is because of multiple state offerings within this product that may offer a different premium bonus. So you see 5 to 10 here. That's why you see the range. So this grid would work exactly like the MIGA grid. It's just a little bit different a layout because of the product features. And the same thing with detail sheet, that's available. And so forth. Now where we get to some of the more advanced pages, of course they're going to be related to the index products. There are all those crediting methods associated with them, so these grids are much different than the MIGAs or our traditional fixed products. So when we're on this page, we see that the featured product right now is the Americo Legacy. This is separate and above the general listing, so it lets you guys know this is what's being put out there and if they want you to take a look at over at the Milner group. And this page is condensed. We're using your fixed rate bucket here as a sort order item. We're using the annual point-to-point column here. We will show you the highest annual point-to-point crediting method within that product. Now that is not index specific. It is just the highest annual point-to-point associated within this product. And by clicking the plus sign over on the left, you get to see all of the crediting methods expanded. You get to see all of the current rates associated, and so forth. And this is our newest version of this grid. What we're really trying to attempt to do here is show as many index products on one page as possible. The next page that I want to show you from here is the FIA by accounts. Now this is probably one of my more favorite grids because we actually are going to show you all the crediting methods up front. However, this may not be conducive in those situations where you want many products on one page because, depending on the products you're viewing, you might have multiple that have, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 crediting methods in them, and it's not going to fit so neatly on a PDF. And that's the purpose of the previous grid that I had showed you. Now, some of the power that's in this index by account page is that you can search for a specific crediting method. So say you wanted to know what's the highest S&P 500 annual point-to-point product that's out there right now. You have the simple search filter at the top still, but because we're on an index grid, we're going to be able to look up that specific crediting method and see all of those crediting method accounts because we actually are reviewing the accounts here. So we pick point-to-point. There'll be no averaging. Reset 1 year. S&P 500. And we can do a search. And so now we've sorted all the S&P 500 annual point-to-points in the system. We can go over to the cap column, and we're both displaying the current issue rate and the guaranteed minimum cap. And it looks like we have next upcoming rate changes here. We want to make sure we get the highest up top. I think the featured product there is always going to be at the top. And so what we see here, this 12-year. Now definitely be wary. There are some exotic indices out there. We have this F&G Legacy legend mark that has the fee with it. So it's not a pure S&P 500 annual point-to-point. They're attaching some of these more unique offerings where they're putting fees on the accounts. So do be wary of that. But these are the highest S&P 500 annual point-to-points, and we got this 18-monther in here. But they're getting very exotic with these products, so definitely look at the crediting method. And so that can be turned into.
Is there a way to search for maybe an uncapped opportunity?
No, because there's really no such thing. They're really all those volatility control indexes that they're putting that control or that limit is within the actual index that they're providing. We get this call often, but they're really not. That's really not a crediting method type. So the way we would do that now is probably we know it's like the S&P 500, like the low vol index, right? So you'd go to something like that. But see, they're all batching, like the aristocrats, this daily risk control.
Sure. Okay. So you do have the actual strategy or the indice that it's based on named, and that is a search mechanism, which is very good to know.
Right. Absolutely. You know, they're saying they're uncapped, but what they are is they're an index that's tailor-made to have the controlling mechanism of crediting within it. So this is how you would see that. But that's a very good question because I get that all the time, especially with these new builds. So this is how you guys would do that. And I would say a couple of years ago, the most common question I was getting, besides what's the highest annual point-to-point S&P 500, it was, hey, show me those gold crediting methods. You know, everybody was so enamored with those at the time. So it's definitely the soup du jour, and these things are it right now, these risk control crediting methods. So that's a great question. And so that is by the accounts. That's FIAs by accounts. We'll skip that. That's based on the minimums. That's a unique one that a specific client had requested. And I just want to give everyone a heads up. Probably 90% of the things that you see on Annuity Rate Watch are all things that we get from feedback. Some of these things like the detail sheets, you know, they look a little bit quirky to some people, but there were some folks out there who just had to have it, had to have this much information. So we do build things, and if you have any feedback, we're always, you know, trying to listen what our clients need to see, how things are being presented to people, what's the important information that people are really interested in. It does change over time, and Annuity Rate Watch pretty much evolves on a monthly basis. There are new products coming out, and we need to build new functions to suit them. So also we have New York FIAs all pre-filtered for you. And once again, we have that enhanced search page, but the enhanced search page, when we're looking at FIAs, we'll be including things like calculation method. It does change a little bit based on the type of product we're looking. And if you're looking for a specific crediting method, I always encourage that you would report it by accounts, which was that grid that we were just doing those searches on, because it can be confusing. You can, in fact, use these crediting method searches here, but if I'm on this very first grid, you'll just only see these products, you know, so people will have the question, well, where are those crediting methods? You know, they're buried within here. So you can do the search for products that would have, you know, S&P 500 or, you know, the risk control stuff. For instance, we go down to the risk control, do one of those searches, and these are all the products with risk controls. But sometimes people will say, oh, well, I can't really exactly tell, but it's because the kind of report you're asking for, you know, is just going to pull back what the page is built to show. And so that is that search page. The SPIA grid, these are just basic SPIA provisions. These are just the, you know, minimum premiums, the payout types that are available, etc. You need to actually, you know, run a SPIA quote to know the value and the figures, but what we're doing is we're providing the roster of the product available. For the search dropdown, we have search by company. If you guys have a specific company, you want to see all their offerings, you know, within a state, that's the guy you like to use, that's the carrier you like to use. You can use the drop down here, drop in the state, you know, premium, etc. And you'll be able to search right within that carrier. And we'll show you all the product. So this is multiple page. And as a heads up, there is a display option down here at the bottom to then expand this out, make this page bigger. And we have the by name. So this is like a forms builder. This is just like a flow type chart of product builder. If you just want to go through here and say for all the MIGAs within American General, and what we report back to you, this is that product detail. So this is what you see on the grids, but we open you directly to the product because we're giving you the product list here. Detail spreadsheet. This is a very vast search. So I showed you where there was kind of the nail on the head search. This one would be a very macro search. This would be, you know, I'm on the Milner Group feed and I want to see everything that's available to me within a given state and maybe companies I'm contracted with. So you could come up here and just pick a handful of the carriers that you do business with, and you'd be able to query them back. And it's just a very macro search. So it's very expansive. So this is a good one to know, but you know, generally most people are on the grids. But this is an enhanced details sheet. And we're back to where we started, which is the feature product grid. So this is all those things that have been put out there to say, guys, take a peek at these. And we go to all that stuff. Hypothetical calculators. This is just an old school hypo that you know, has some terminology on there from many years ago, like an annual point to point. It's actually called a ratchet, and you can just plug in numbers in there to see kind of hypothetical returns on a make-believe index that you've created, or you know, figures and caps that you want to see hypothetically how they would return. New business forms. We have forms for a select amount of carriers. So the forms builder is where you want to go to see them. And then we have the home. So register for more features. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is I'll open this out and go down my list and open it up for questions. So if any of you guys have some questions on here, I'll see you in the queue, and I will open up the line to you.
And I'd also like to just quickly interject to all those that are listening in that, you know, we do find that this tool really comes in handy when a client comes into your office and they say, you know, I just went and saw Mr. Advisor down the street, and he's showing me company X, Y, and Z and this product. So this platform gives you the opportunity to go in and research, okay, well, what is this other guy showing my client? You know, and obviously the Milner Group is also here to help you understand how we can position against something that you're in competition with. But this tool gives you the products, the features, the rates, everything that you need to know, and really can help you in that competitive situation. In addition, you know, it's giving you the real-time rates, not only on the MIGAs and your traditional annuities, but also with your fixed index annuities and any changes that are coming down the pike. So, you know, last week we had a market correction, and as a result, you know, there was a few carriers who went ahead and immediately decreased rates. Well, that is posted in real time on here. So again, you can find this tool on our website at milnergroup.com under the annuity tab, and it's up 24 hours a day. So if you're sitting on the weekends, you want to catch up on, you know, what's new in the industry, you can go here. If you know that there's been a market dip and you want to see how that's affecting this industry and these products, you have that access. In addition, you also have the full staff at the Milner Group to answer any questions and help you navigate not only this tool, but assist you with your case design. So I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, I think that would definitely be important to note. We do have all the rates are updated in real time. So as they come out, they get posted up here. So if you're viewing any docs out there, any PDFs on other people's websites or other groups' websites, or people, you know, for instance, down the road, you know, they might not have that up-to-date information, and a live feed like this gives you the ability to make sure that you're up to snuff and actually seeing exactly what's going on in the industry, not something that was going on maybe a month ago when first of the month rates came out. So that's a great point. All right, Julie, not seeing, there are no questions. Going down the list, not seeing anything. So certainly, you know, you can ask me questions, any follow-up questions. I'll certainly be in touch. I will forward my email on to Julie, and it was good having this demo with you guys today. I hope it proves to be very useful.
And yes, we do appreciate your time, and thank you to all who attended today. Again, you can reach out with any questions, and we look forward to doing business with you. Thanks.
Have a good day.